Okay, I was asked about problem number 10 on 11.2, and yes, it is a challenging problem. I'm going to do a little bit, and then I'm going to give opportunities for you to pause and work on it yourself. I probably won't finish it completely, but get it very close to the end. So anyway, here we're converting to polar, and we have x's and y's, and I think it's pretty straightforward. X is r cosine theta, and y is r sine theta. Now, anytime we're converting to polar, we want to try to get r equals as much as possible. So once in a while it's r squared equals, but usually it's r equals, and there's usually a way to do it. If we can't get r equals, then if the r's actually disappear, we get theta equals. That's the next best thing. This one we can actually get r equals. Now if I go ahead and square, I get r squared cosine squared theta minus 10 r sine theta minus 25 equals 0. Okay, much like when we're solving some of these equations, we got sines and cosines mixed. It's probably nice to try to get them working together. We can't really substitute for sine. I mean, substituting 1 over cosecant is really not a good idea. But cosine squared, we could do Pythagorean identity. And so r squared times 1 minus sine squared theta minus 10r sine theta minus 25 equals 0. And if I go ahead and then distribute the r squared, I get r squared minus r squared sine squared theta minus 10r sine theta minus 25 equals 0. Okay, now, if there are any of you who want to go ahead and pause the video at this moment and then try to keep on working, and go ahead and pause it right now. This would be one place where you could pause it. I'm going to continue on with the problem right now, though. Okay, so now that I've got the sine squared and the sine, I think I'm going to get them on one side of the equation. And so r squared equals, and if I move, all the signs are going to change. So all these negative things are going to become positive. So r squared sine squared theta plus 10r sine theta plus 25. And what's nice about that is the right-hand side actually does factor as a trinomial right now. And so we get r squared equals, and I have r sine theta plus 5 times another r sine theta plus 5. So in other words, r sine theta plus 5 quantity squared. Okay, now, when we're in polar, sometimes we do some kind of outrageous things that we would not do when we're in rectangular. And so this is one of those things that we generally probably would not do when we're in rectangular. But what we can do right now is we can go ahead and take the square root of both sides here. And now these are variables happening. And so technically we have absolute value of r over here, and absolute value of r sine theta plus 5. And, you know, generally we take care of it by doing the plus or minus thing. The r on the inside will be equal to the r sine theta plus 5, and it's whether it's the positive form of it or the negative form of it. So r is equal to plus or minus the r sine theta plus 5. Okay, so now And by the way, at this point, if you wanted to pause the video, you could pause and try to finish it off and get the match up to the answers that are there on the worksheet. But I'm going to continue right now. So if we distribute the plus or minus, we get r equals plus or minus r sine theta and plus or minus 5. And I want to get the r's together, so I'm going to bring the plus or minus r sine theta over to the left. And so when I do that, the signs change, and I get minus plus r sine theta equals plus or minus 5. Okay, and so now there is a GCF of r, because remember, we're trying to get r equals if we possibly can. And so we've gotten rid of the r squared. We're now getting it to the point where we can get it to be r equals. There's a GCF of r, so if I factor out that GCF of r, I'm left with 1 minus plus sine theta equals plus or minus 5. Okay, and now we're getting very, very close to the final answer. And I think that I'm actually going to leave it to you to finish getting the final answer on this one. You know, it's like think about what you got to do to get r equals, and you've got two possibilities here. Keep the plus and minus and the minus plus straight and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so it's not done. You want r equals, and there's going to be two different versions of this. R equals something and r equals something. So go ahead and finish that off on your own. Okay, so